Hello there. Welcome to another live stream. My name is Shane Olson, and today we're going to be continuing on with this. I call him Old Man Johnson, this kind of angry feller. I really like his shapes and everything that's happening. This is how far we got last time, and in this session, I wanted to continue creating his hair, making his suit outfit, making his glasses, and just kind of generally seeing how far we can make it. So. Let's see. Hopefully, let me know. Hey, what's up, Neil? Could you peek and see if the titles got updated correctly? It says updating right now, so hopefully. I've been having troubles with it. Looks like it. Okay. Restream is telling me that it's correct. Okay. Hey, what's up, Brad? How are you? Brad, I just saw your your latest sculpt that you posted on Instagram. It's hilarious. I love it. I love it. All right. Hey, at ZBrushing, how's it going? All right. So, where we left off last week was here. I'm going to try and sculpt with perspective on, but maybe not at that extreme focal length. And, you know, I've been away for a bit, so I like to come back and evaluate where I'm at. And there's some things that I'm looking at that I see that I want to change. Yeah, that Craven, it was so fun. So funny. Hilarious. All right. So let's get started with, I'm going to kind of push his hair up a little bit. Oh, I saw. Hey, Spear Chuck, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Just kind of want to push that forward a little bit to get that going. I'll detail out the hair here in a little bit. Okay, his nose is a bit long for my taste. I'm gonna fill this in. Okay. Yeah, let's shorten that up, and then I want to add a little bit more of an edge, kind of a seam down the nostril line. Is it not working? Okay. So Neil, I talked to Paul Gabery about the folder structure and where to put plugins to make the quick start work. He said it should work in the regular folder structure. I just need to try it there again to see if they updated it. But you're supposed to go to preferences, asset directory, and then in this open directory here, you should be able to go into the can't remember if it's plugin data. I think it's not. I think it's under Z Startup and then Z Plug 64. It should be right here, but I told him that it's not working. So hopefully they'll look into it and get back to me. Yeah. Just been working on your beaver. Nice. Okay. So let's see. Aaron Dom Kalita, how's it going? How do you are you asking how to survive as a 3D artist? I assume that's a question. It's a good question. My answer would be you need to break in the door, you need to have a good enough portfolio that you can show companies that you can do what they need you to do, or freelance, you know. And then I think the first freelance gig is the hardest, the most difficult to break into, because once you've done something once and you've done paid work once, it's easier to get more paid work after that because you've done it. And then you can grow your network and your the people that you know, and those people will recommend you, so on and so forth. So I just barely finished some freelance for Ronin Arts Workshop And yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm doing miniatures for them. You can see them right here. I just finished up these 4. And they're going to be released for Ronin Arts Workshop pretty soon. If you look it up on Patreon, it's either Raw, R-A-W, or Ronin, R-O-N-I-N, Arts Workshop. You can check that out. And it looks like they just printed them out too. This is what they look like printed, which is great. You can see the details of them. I like this ninja girl a lot. They turned out pretty good. Hey, what's up, Neil? So there's 2 males, 2 females. There's like this samurai guy, this monk guy, this explosions expert, and a ninja. They all turned out pretty fun. So I'm pretty excited how those worked. Yeah, Neil, because he said they updated the other plugins as well, so it should work. Okay. I'm gonna grab this and I'll turn on dynamic subdivisions, and then I'm going to use the retopo tool, I guess. Let me think about this, how I want to build this up, because I want to use, like, sometimes I'll use the same shape as both the shirt and the suit, and then I'll just build these extra bits on top to separate the colors. Trying to go over your checklist in my mind, plus find the happy balance with Mitch Cheek and 2D Cheats in his next. Yeah. Did I give that to you, Neil? That checklist yet? I'll have to give it a try. I've just been messing about with the hair. Nice. I'm working on a checklist that you can print out, and I have it updated, Neil, and I have 2 versions of it. I have one with miniature explanations and one with more explanations. So yeah, I'm scared of the seed dance era. The Transformers videos are making me hopeless. I don't know what the seed dance era is, I guess. But yeah, there's some pretty crazy videos coming out recently, like AI movies, if that's what you're talking about. I haven't seen the Transformers ones. Okay, just kind of pulling this up. Okay, so now BR for retop. I guess if you're trying to break into film with 3D modeled characters, I can see where you're coming from. And even as collectibles like this, I can see where you're coming from, but I don't know. I think people will still value human created art, but who knows? I'm not sure what it all means yet. I have yet to see. Yeah, I'm partially scared, partially excited, because I'm, just afraid of the unknown, essentially. I'm actually going to just pull this out. Might be a little quicker. You can hold down Alt and just drag it out. Now, when it comes to this little notch, I need a cut line through here. I'm trying to remember the hotkeys to send a cut down. I'm just going to switch over to the Z modeler and do it, because I need an edge loop that goes right there. All right, Neil, I'll give you a newer version. Okay, so I need to, on this one, I need to go back to the retopo brush. And I want to use this like that. Space. Oh, okay. I forget. There we go. There's our little notch. And then this will be the last one. Let's see. I will put a dot here and do that instead. And then just kind of adjust these. Pull this away. You might need a smaller brush just so I'm not accidentally grabbing this corner here. Okay. And then with that, I can go to the Z modeler and I'm going to go ahead and extrude this out. Extrude, polygroup all. I was thinking about doing it with dynamic. That's a little too thick. Okay, and then I can turn dynamic on now and it kind of gives me what I want, but I want to make it a little crispier. So I'm going to turn off transparency. Let's solo this. See how clean it makes it? It's just a nice clean collar. But I want creases because I want them tighter. So what I'm going to do is do a group by normals, which will give me new polygroups based off of the angle, like so. And it looks like it did a good job. And then I can put a crease in between those polygroups. So I have it, a crease polygroup right here on my custom user menu. And then I want to turn this down to 2 and hit crease polygroups. And then if I turn on dynamic subdivisions, if I crank this up to 4, it should soften these edges and give it a good sharp look, but still kind of have these rounded corners and rounded bevels. And then we can color it this brown color. We're good to go. There's a setting in the brush menu to stop it grabbing both edges. Well, are you talking about the brush menu for the retopo brush? This topological will do that. This is called topological masking, and you can turn the range down to a 3, and then it won't grab the neighboring verts. Yeah. Arnold, do you believe in extraterrestrials personally? I don't know. I would say that the chances of them existing are very, very high, but I've never seen one, so I don't know. I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to that. Okay. Being that simple, I would have been forcing it into shape after just checking one big shape easier when you know how. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, nice and clean. Keep it clean. I'm going to round this out a little bit. And we can also lift it. I don't want to lift it off of here too much, but just kind of push it up. So there's a tiny little gap, creating more ambient occlusion underneath there. This is kind of too purple of a gray here. There we go. He looks like an army sergeant or something. Okay, so now that we have that done, see how I can use the suit itself as, or this piece to be the suit. And then you can see I intentionally kind of left this gap back here. But we can grab this shape and just kind of drag it in to hide that gap and just kind of bring it up. And then I'm going to pull this bottom just kind of out and away just a little bit. Just again to create a space and for some shadows to gather underneath there. Ambient occlusion. Really big brush to bring that on in. Okay. Yep, it's all about keeping it clean. I kind of want to pull this shoulder down a little bit more. So I'm going to grab this shape, then make sure we're on mask lasso. Just grab it like this, blur it out. Invert it, reset the gizmo direction, and kind of put it down here like a hinge. Maybe here? Yeah, I just want to rotate it down. Just to give him a little more of a shoulder. That's better. There he has broader shoulders and okay. Now for this this inner collar, I'll do the same thing. I'm not going to take it, well, I'm trying to decide if I want to take it all the way around the back. I probably should have built the inner collar first so I could draw on top of it to make this outer collar, but that's all right. I am going to hide it though. Hide the outer collar so I can draw the inner collar. This is left over from last time. Okay, and you can see I haven't named things very well. I'm going to go ahead and delete this old. I'm just going to clean up this file. I have some extra junk in there. And let's save it. So what are you all working on this week? What's going on? What's good? Okay, so with this collar, I'm just going to hide it and do the inner collar, and then I'll pull the outer collar out and around it. But let's do BR. And then we'll start. It kind of has these double triangles, these little kickers right here. So I'm going to put those in there later, but we'll just start with this. Okay, that's a little dialogue asking if you want to start a new subtool or keep the one you're on and turn that into retopo geometry. Okay, I think this is actually kind of reverse like this. I'm not sure exactly what that color is doing, but we'll try it like this first. And Brad, I have some crazy kind of, I don't know if it's, you'd call it news, but let me turn this. Man, I want to talk to you after this. How about that? If you're around. Still working on Rincewind from the Discworld books. Awesome. That sounds super fun. Sounds good. Awesome. Yeah, it's just to give you a heads up. It's I talked to a person at Kajabi yesterday, and he showed me an upcoming tool. And it's wild. It's wild. Okay, so let's go. Polygroup all, extrude. Let's turn off transparency. Okay, Now I want to climb it up his neck a little more. Kajabi thing sounds brilliant. Oh my goodness. It's so crazy. I wish I could share it here, but I think it's an NDA thing, so I can't. It's still in beta. But basically I can kind of, wow, gosh, I don't want to get myself in trouble. I'll just talk to you later. It's hard not to talk about because it's super exciting. All right. Kajabi is the course platform that hosts my courses. Or I guess they have hosted my courses in the past. And my courses are still there. But I just kind of turned off the faucet to them for a minute. But I'm working on a brand new course that these guys are talking about. And it's a framework to kind of go over your character and figure out how to make it more appealing. It's like a self-assessment framework that you can go through. I'm really excited about it. Okay, group by normals. Turn this down to 2. Increase polygroups. Turn this up to 4. There we go. And then we can unhide this other collar. And then adjust it around, adjust it to overlap this lower one. So we'll start with this one and push this one down in. I'm just curious, do many of you use the iPad version of ZBrush? I've been using it more and more, and I'm just wondering like how many of you guys do out of the, what, 33 people watching? Just curious. I think it's getting better and better, and they're really working on the user interface and making it cleaner and more accessible. I use it up to a point, and then I usually move over to the desktop version to finish it up. But I really like not being tied to my desk in the initial stages. Nope, but maybe at some point. iPad, no. Use that. Oh, ZBrush. Yeah, that's funny. Ironically, your name is ZBrushing, and yeah. It's good. It's good. Use it occasionally. Okay. Now I'm going to make this the center kind of this fold from the shirt just down the middle. And with that one, I kind of want to look and see. Yeah. So I'll either do one of two things when I'm making clothing folds and stuff like that. But what I'll do is, hold on a second. What I'll do is I will either use the retopo brush to draw retopology on top of here, like I've been doing for these pieces, or I'll look and see if I have existing geometry that I can use, which I do because I have this clean underlying mesh. So I can do it one of two ways, you know, but for this one, this little piece, It's kind of better to use underlying geometry when you can, because that underlying geometry, the edge loops will match. So the curve will follow it better, and you'll already have the curve for free. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take this, duplicate it. Okay. Solo it. And then I'm going to use the two center lines of polygons. So let's use this select lasso. And then I'm going to hide everything that's not that. Like this. Let's turn on double so we can see how it goes all the way around. And then I only want it down to about here. So I'm going to hide like this. And then we can see, we can turn on transparent, and we can see how high we want to end it up here. So maybe right there. And then we can hide the rest like that. So we just have this strip, and then hit delete hidden. Everything goes away. Turn off dynamic subdivisions. There we go. And just so you guys know, if you come in here saying download some other program that's a competitor, you're going to get booted. Just saying. Just because this is the official Maxon channel. If it was my own channel, it'd be fine, whatever. But it's not. So please be respectful. I'd appreciate it. I'm lost if I don't have my Tor box, and if I'm using that, I might as well use the desktop even though it works with the iPad. You know, it's crazy you say that, Neil, because I have a Tor box from that's an older version that does not work with the iPad, yet it's the exact same hardware. So I really, really wish that they would have just given me an update so it would work with the iPad, and I'm grumpy that they didn't. So I'm kind of done with the Tor box in myself. It made me grumpy, if you couldn't tell. Okay, so let's do ZModeler, extrude polygons, and then we'll go group by normals, crease by polygons at level 3. Turn on dynamic, turn this up to 4. It's kind of a rinse repeat pattern. And then we can kind of just push this down into the surface a bit so there's no gaps. Leonard, how are you, my friend? Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's pull this out and push this in. That way there's obvious occlusion and it's not gonna break. Got the sax going on today. So what's new with you, Leonard? What's going on? Okay, I kind of want to pull this away so it feels more like a collar. I was kind of trying to get, I don't even know what's happening underneath that tie, but it's not looking like a collar. So let's fix it. All right. Yeah, I guess we can do it that close. And then with this, I think I want to lower how far up it's going. I think I made it go up too far into his neck. Come on, what's going on? There's no mask on it. Move. Okay, I can move that, but I can't move the end of it. There it goes. That's weird. Still need to find something new to torment, Shane. What were you tormenting me with before? Wow, look at that. I can't move it underneath the transparency. That's new. That's weird. Oh, we will. Oh, I'm scared now. Oh, 3D printers. Have you taken it out of the box yet? Oh, you guys. I'm super excited because I'm going to be sponsored by Polymaker, the makers of Filament, which, yes, I never took it out of the box. Oh my gosh. Okay. But hey, my bamboo's out of the box and it's printing. It's not printing right now, but I've been printing lots of stuff. I've been printing stuff for my grandson. It's been fun. The latest thing that I printed was, let's see. Can you guys still hear me okay? This little Wolverine guy, and I've been coloring him up with my markers, but he's printed in filament. So cool. So cool. But my grandson will come down here and look at the Bamboo Lab store, and he'll be like, "Can you print me one of these?" You have the H2C? I don't. I have the A1. Just the regular A1 with the 4 spools. I kind of wish well, okay. I'll just tell you this. I kind of wish I didn't get the 4 spool holder thing. I'm glad I did, but I don't need it. And I'll tell you the reason why. I wanted to print in colors, right? Yeah, resin is not great for kids. This is a filament. Bamboo is a filament. So it's just plastic, right? And that's debatable whether that's good for kids either. But he's like 8. So anyway, Polymaker, I'm really interested in their filament because they have some filament called CosPLA. And yeah, it's a play on words, cosplay. But they developed it in as a way for cosplayers to print something rigid, flexible, or sorry, that's opposing words. Flexible but durable, that's sandable, right? Those 3 things, crazy. And it's called CosPLA, and they're sending me some to test out. I'm really excited to try it out because it's sandable, and it should be able to give me some tooth on the outside to then use my my new favorite thing is to color with these acrylic paint markers. And that's what I used on that Wolverine, and that's what I used on, see this Lion-O, both of these Lion-Os actually back here. Those are both colored with acrylic markers. So, and this one is filament, and this one is resin. The detail is quite different when you look at it closely, but from like back here you can't even tell. It's just nice to have the options, right? I work for hey Ammon, Amy, I worked as a sculptor as collectible and minis full time, but it's still hard to make a living when I get $450 to $1,000 US per mini. How do you manage to make a living as a sculptor? Yeah, that's difficult to make a full-time living off of. You have to be faster. You can do it if you're quicker, and if you do it for yourself. I find, like, if you open your own store and you're doing it for yourself, and that way you can make it once and sell it multiple times rather than doing it for a company. That's how you can make more money. Because if you're trading out dollars for hours, there's a cap, right? You can only make so much. But if you do it on your own, there's no cap. So that's kind of what I would recommend. If you can, if you have the means. Myself, I sell courses on how to do it. So I sculpt characters and I sell courses. So that's between the two of those, it works out. Let's see. And then I'm also starting to work with DCP, which is Disney Consumer Products, and they pay better than minis because they're bigger, they're larger. So if you can do larger sculpts like this for like Sideshow or whatever, they pay way better. ZBrushing wallet is. What are you guys saying? Oh, I had budget creep. I started looking at an A1, but ended up with an X1C a year ago. Nice. I have an Ender 3 version 2, and my wife won't let me get a bamboo. I get it. I get it. Let's see. When you're printing figurines in PLA, what layer height do you generally print at? I use the defaults to be. I'm not a tinker nerd. I don't tinker with it too much. Got it. Thanks for the advice. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Okay. While it is safer when cured, but it is brittle and would break easily. Oh, you're talking about resin? Yeah. These. So all of the gray models you see behind me, if you see them bigger, all of the gray models are resin, except for this one. This little bust is filament, but all the rest are resin. And then this one is filament right here. All the rest are resin. You can kind of see them back there. This circle thing is kind of cutting off the rest. But yeah, the resin is completely toxic when it's liquid. When it dries, it's no longer toxic, but yeah, like Leonard said, it becomes brittle, and it shatters like porcelain when you drop it on the ground, whereas filament does not typically. There are resins that are more flexible that you can kind of use, but yeah, still it's for display only. I'm gonna save this just so I don't have to do it again if it crashes. I bought a QED Q2 with the 4-spool box, great printer, but a print engineering material. Yeah, so back to the Polymaker stuff. What I'm really after is like one spool that's whitish, like light gray to white, that I can sand and then I can color with my acrylic markers and paint. That's like what I want to do. So I don't need to print in color, and it creates a lot of waste. And then you have to buy a whole bunch of spools of filament rather than like one spool of really good light colored filament, right? So I might end up selling my 4 color rack and just getting one spool holder that kind of sits on the top that I can just roll through, you know? Lord tell him I've seen too many videos of people handling models with uncured resin and it kills me a little inside every time. Yes. Yeah. It's not great. You know, I'll just say I've had some health issues, and I wonder if it's tied to that at all. Because I used a resin printer when I was at Disney, and we printed out a whole bunch of stuff. And we weren't always the safest with it, I'll just tell you that. We wore respirators and stuff, and used gloves, but sometimes the gloves would break, and you know, we'd get it on us and we were breathing it, and yeah, it wasn't great. So I kind of wonder. Let's see. I'm gonna do split unmask points. I cannot say it was that, but I have my suspicions. So be safe, kids. Okay. Washer Jazz, you followed me? Are you saying you followed my on here on Twitch? Hold on a second. Probably won't need to be embalmed from all the chemicals I dealt with. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I used to be in the sign industry and the screen printing industry, and they use, like, I want to say toxic inks, like CMYK billboard printing company. And yeah, that was a wonder. Let's see, I need to do local symmetry with dynamic off. And then when I was in the sign industry, we had a lot of like lacquer thinners and enamel paints. Yeah, who knows? All of that stuff. And I see my friend James at Monster. I think the name of his company's Monster Studios or Monster something. And just the chemical stuff he's dealing with. He does big installations with like concrete and stuff. They didn't have PPE in the print shops I worked in. Ah. Yeah, it always makes you wonder, right? I don't know what MKE or PPE is. R is R. I want to make his this tie much bigger. Exaggeration. Maybe like that. Okay, and then for the shirt underneath, the white shirt. Personal protection equipment. Ah, I see. You say you didn't have any in the print shops. Yeah, that's a problem. Just gonna kind of squish this down a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to decide if I want to make extra geometry back here or just paint it white. I'm going to try and just paint it white to see if I can get away with it. I think so. Yeah. Let's see what we have down here. I think that works. Let me go right along this border edge. There we go. Okay. I'm happy with that. Let's give him some glasses, shall we? Yeah, we didn't have any of that either. We were just but at least we were outside, kind of. Not at Disney, but at the sign shops. We were outside. We would have like pinstriping paint and sign painting paint and yeah. Enamels, we're getting that stuff everywhere. Okay. Save it and make him some glasses. There's still this face, this head, and this is part of my my checklist that I'm working on, is the feel of it. right? So the feel of this guy's head versus this guy's head is not quite there. And I have some ideas why. So I need to keep pushing. I'll do it later, but eventually I'm going to push his face around to try and get this feel closer. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. I have a little laundry list in my head of things I want to try, but I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm going to finish building out all the parts and then I'm going to push it around. So just know that's coming. Okay, so let's build out his glasses. Now for glasses like this, there's a couple ways I can do it. There's there's always the tried and true Z spheres, which I like to use for glasses sometimes. I can just use a tube, you know, just like straight up tube and bend that around, which is probably what I'm gonna do. I could Z model it and subdivide it down to get me the rounded edges. I'm probably going to start with that, to be honest. I'll start with some cylinders to create these lens rings, and then I'll just do some extrusions and we'll get it there. Shadow box? No, I never really used shadow box. Yeah, that's not really a thing that I do. A lot of people will use like mask extracting or shadow box and that kind of stuff. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know. The masking extraction kind of a thing never really worked with me and my brain. Do you remember the Disney safety motto? We are the D in safe D. Oh gosh. I've never heard that before. That's funny. Was Goofy stood over you saying, "Gosh, you don't need PPE." You just said that so I would say it like that, didn't you? Hey, Master. Hey, I don't know about Master, but hey, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's keep going and make some glasses. Let's use the primitive object cylinder. And I'm going to grab the gray color. There we go. And we'll just drag some rings out. Hit split unmasked points. I use Z model. Yeah, I'm going to be using that. I can't let go of my polygon modeling roots. Whoops. I need to scale his whole head. Okay. They're kind of oval shaped. And then we'll bend them back like this. Okay, I'm going to save this off because I'm going to use this as the lens eventually. This sounds like a little Kenny G action going on. Okay, so let's duplicate these off. And then we'll hide the original because I want to do a group by normals and then delete. Here, let's turn on double. Delete the caps, so they're just the rings. And then turn off local symmetry for a second. So I can do a mirror and weld, so they're the same color. And then, yep, here we go, Z modeler. We can do extrude polygroup all, give it some thickness. And then from here, I'm just going to extrude this. Now I can use this thing, instead of extrude, I can use this tool called Q-mesh. Q-mesh, where is it? Is that what it's called? Q-mesh, right there. Q-mesh a single poly, because once I get to the center, Nope, it's not doing it. I was going to say it should snap, but if I turn off symmetry, nope, it's not doing it. Okay. Did they save these streams? Yes. I always join when everything is ready already. Nice. You mean done? Ready already. Okay, I'm just going to extrude this to here and then do a mirror and weld, and that will stitch it together. And then we can turn on subdivisions and then uncrease all, and it'll give us kind of this rounded shape that we can start to tweak. We can turn our symmetry back on now. Just start to tweak and squish around shapes. Okay. I think I want to have the legs or the arms, whatever you call them, that go back to the ears. I want to have those as separate pieces so that I can have a pseudo kind of a hinge right here. So what I'm going to do is I want to just extrude this piece right here just to give the hinge a place to be. So it'll kind of be like this. And then I'm just going to insert an edge loop in here because it will make it kind of look like this now. It's called a support loop. And then just kind of, whoops, squish this around. Come on, just grab the right one. These little dots, they're telling me where the actual real mesh is. So if I turn off dynamic subdivisions, this is what I'm actually editing. And the dynamic subdivision is showing me what it's going to look like when I subdivide it. It's kind of a preview, like this. And what I could do is I could put like an edge all the way around the outside. I think I might do that. And you can control it with polygroups or just by putting the edge in there manually. I want to try doing group by normals and see what it gives me. See, it's not quite what I want. Because the bend here is a little too tight, so it's putting a new group there. So what I can do is go to group by normals and see this little slider right here. I can turn that angle down and try it again. Or I think it might be up, but I think it's down. No, see that's doing more, so I need to go up. There we go. It's up. I can never remember. But see how it's putting the poly group all the way across the top now, across that bridge? It's not doing it underneath because this angle is too sharp. And then it's also giving me new groups on these edges. So what I want to do is I'm going to do a mirror and weld, which will give me symmetrical polygroups. And then here's some tricky bits. You can go to ZModeler, hover over a face, push spacebar, click on polygroup, a single poly. Okay, and we'll use that. Now, if you hover over a face, you can see it gives you a little dialog that says, use shift to pick. See how that? And how you do that is you click on it first, and then you add the key shift. And it'll change back to that blue color. And now that's kind of how you know that you have that poly group like eye dropped up into your cursor. And now you can just tap and it'll give you that blue color or whatever you soaked up there. And it looks like it already put it here, which I want. I'm going to leave the yellow cap on there, I think. And then, but see, this is green and I want it pink. So I'm going to do it again. Click, hold down shift, and then let go. And it gave me pink now. And now I can assign the pink to here. Okay, so now what I can do is I can use those polygroups to my advantage and then crease polygroups at level 3. and then turn on dynamic subdivisions, and it gives me this kind of a look. But I want to crank up the subdivision levels past 3 to a 4, so then those creases will give me a little bevel. And I think I might turn the crease level down to 2 instead of 3, and see it'll soften those edges a little bit more. And then it'll look like this. See, that looks like a really clean, nice set of frames. If you search Shane Olson, you can get a playlist with 219 videos in it, but that's not all of them. Yeah, it's 9 years of live streaming here on Maxon's YouTube channel and or Pixelogic's YouTube channel before it was Maxon. It's a lot. All right, thanks, Shane. What is your favorite tablet for sculpting? Did XP Pen, Huion catch up with Wacom nowadays, or brands are not important at all? I'll be completely honest with you. I have not used any other tablets in my production other than Wacom tablets. I currently have a Wacom Cintiq, a 27-inch that's a little old. I would say this is now, I guess, 9 years old, 10 years old, something like that. And it's still doing really good for me. I did play with the XP pens at ZBrush Summit, and I liked them a lot, especially the remote. The remote is really good. The pens feel good. There's 2 different pens that comes with it, one thick, one thin, which I liked. The only criticism I had on those is the envelope that it recognizes your pen, like the distance between the surface of the screen and where it recognizes your pen, the distance is a lot closer than a Wacom tablet. So I found that I had to hold my pen closer to the screen, and I feel like I could get used to it and hold it closer, but just my knee-jerk reaction to it was that I would struggle with that for a while until I got used to it. I'll just say that. But as far as the quality is concerned, it's great. Yeah. Okay. So let's adjust. I always love putting glasses on characters because it changes their feel so much. So I basically masked off the bridge there, and just so I can pull this apart a little bit. It's like he's looking down at you, telling you that you did bad on your test. Okay, let me know if there's any questions that I missed. Feel free to ask again. And I really appreciate you hanging out with me today. It's always a good time. Okay, now let's give him those, I don't know what they're called, arms, legs, eye holders. I don't know what the official name of them. But I am just going to use my insert multi-mesh and grab a cube and just kind of drag it on here. Okay. I'm loving these trumpet and saxophone songs. I played trumpet in high school until I got braces. And then it chewed up my lips, so I had to stop. Okay. Sorry, it's taking me a while just to edit this one little cube. I guess I probably didn't have to rotate it, but... Okay, so I'm just going to extrude a single polygon. Extrude a single poly. Here we go. Right. kind of twisted. Let's pull it. I'll just make it twist as it goes back. Twist back. Yay, we got 50 people watching today. That's great. Welcome, welcome. If you're new here, my name's Shane Olson, and I like to sculpt stylized characters. And I used to work at Disney. Well, I guess I can say I still kind of do. I see they changed the 3D gizmo a bit. What are those circular dot ends of moving arrow? That's my gizmo. They didn't change the gizmo. That's my own. The reason I made this, because you can make custom gizmos. I think Michael Pavlovich has a video on how to do it. But I just made my own. And the reason why I made it is because I use another program often, and it was kind of making my brain go goofy when I was going back and forth. So I made a gizmo that matched that other program a little more. So yeah, it's just kind of less jarring. But this is scale. Instead of the little yellow box in the middle, I made it a big ring on the outside. I didn't change the move along camera plane. That's the same. I changed the little boxes on the arrows to be spheres out here. I didn't touch the move or the rings, and that's it. Other than that, like, the functionality is the same. I might give it away for free, just if people want it. Okay, yeah, these really got skewed. Yeah, I'm going to be updating my interface pretty soon here. I'm going to be stacking. I'm going to add one more row down to this bottom shelf and stack all of these brushes 2 by 2. And then because I'm running out of real estate over here, and I have some things that I want to add, and a lot of people use my brushes and they use them on laptops and stuff like that. So if I put any more over here, it's going to get hidden. So I've been working on a new user interface, and once I get that done, I'll put it up on my 3dcharacterworkshop.com website so you can grab them there. Every time I watch your stream, I think I want to try that gizmo. I like it a lot, actually. I always try to grab the middle yellow box to scale up and end up grabbing something else. Yeah. It's nice to have nothing there, because that way you can see there's nothing there. That way you can, but the precision is gone. Like, you can't see exactly where your gizmo is. So I think if anything, I might bring the ends of these arrows all down to touch right in the middle, just so you can see exactly where it's supposed to be. Or I might put just a tiny little black ticker, like right in the center, like either a dot or a, an axis or something right at the center, just tiny, just so I can see precisely where it is, I still use your UI and brushes from ZBrush 2018. Nice. Yeah, white dot in the middle. Yes, something to kind of indicate right where it is, because sometimes I'll get lost. I mean, even with the yellow box, it didn't tell you exactly where it was in space. So it would be nice to have just some kind of an indicator. So I might edit that. Another thing is, I've never made a custom version of this head either. A lot of people will take one of their own models and replace that head with their own thing. And I just never have. I've always wanted to put my bear head up there, but yeah, I just never have. Be kind of fun. Especially if he's like waving. I added a few extra brushes to your interface. Cool. Yeah, I mean, my interface is super simple. I made it so I can teach people how to use it without being overwhelmed, because this custom menu right here, I actually have a video on my YouTube channel teaching you how to make this menu and how to make and edit the user interface to be your own. But this menu is essentially a truncated version of the tool menu. The tool menu can get very, very large and overwhelming, and it's like, what do I need to even use or find over here, right? So I kind of packed everything that I use most often into this menu. You can toggle 3D Gizmo on and off with Y to see the position better with the old transpose line. Oh, for sure, Nick. Yeah, you can. You know, I kind of miss that old transpose line sometimes. Yeah, he's talking about this. It's kind of hard to see with this blue background, but yeah, that you can see exactly where that transpose line is, right? It's like right there. Yeah, and this gives you everything you need, but I think people complained about it so much that they went away from it. But I miss it. I liked it. I miss it. Especially when it comes to using it for posing. I used it for posing all the time. It was like a temporary bone, you know? I started with your very first character workshop class and got used to some of your brushes. My problem is that they change the place things go. And then there are holes where the brushes were in my custom interface. That's if you put them in the right spot, there shouldn't be holes. That's interesting. They come back once you load it in, but when you load into ZBrush, they're missing. So yeah, I guess it depends on which version of ZBrush you're using and where you're putting them. But yeah, I used to have that problem when I would drag the smooth stronger brush in from the light box, and it would always load in like missing. So I had to actually copy that smooth stronger brush into where the rest of the brushes were. Then I wouldn't have that problem anymore. So that might be the reason why. They have to be in the startup folder instead of the custom folder. Yep, they do. Yep. And now ZBrush, the latest ZBrush has a new folder structure. So if you go into preferences and you open your asset directory, the new stuff is here. So I pointed it to a new folder, a custom folder, and now it works. So like on mine, it's just set to C/3DCW. But then from there, the folder structure is the same as it used to be. It's just kind of pulled out and moved forward. So in Z Startup brush presets, all of my custom brushes are in here. I have a lot of them, like the Orbs Crack brushes and SK's brushes and my brushes. They're all in here. And it points to that now, which is nice because now every time you get a new version of ZBrush, you don't have to go and move all of them over. It just points to that folder again. One reason that people hated the old transpose line is because it's overloaded with functions and they're not documented and no proper tooltips on it. Yep. Very hard to remember all the shortcuts. I actually have in my original course that I released a long time ago, back in 2017, when they didn't have the gizmo yet, I actually had an entire module on just how to use the transpose line. Yeah, that's how complex it was. But once you knew how it worked well, you know? Okay, let's continue with this. Getting sidetracked a little bit. So what are you doing right now? Do you still work for Disney? You just mainly teach? So I don't work with Avalanche anymore. They got bought by Warner Brothers, and a bunch of my friends still work there, and they're making Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. I shouldn't say Harry Potter. I should say they're making Hogwarts Legacy, the next version of it. I just got back on doing contract work with Disney Consumer Products. So I guess you could say I'm working with Disney again. Yeah, I haven't done anything for them yet, so I don't want to say that I'm working with them or for them yet until it's like all official and I've actually done something for them. But yeah, it's in the works, which I'm excited about. I'm doing some work with Ronin Arts Workshop with Hector. I showed those earlier, but I can show them again for the new people that are just showing up here. Let's see here. yeah, there's the prints of them. But I just finished these 4 characters for Hector. They're 4 goblins that are going to be released for his Patreon. So, yeah, I think they turned out all right. Pretty fun. And they're STL files for 3D printing, and this is what they look like when they're printed out. Those are really small. Those are D&D size figures. But even these little wicks on the dynamite printed out, these little rings holding these papers and stuff, it's super cool. But it's really fun to see. It's fun to work with him and his team. Okay, let's see. Let's get back to group by normals. And then we'll do a mirror and weld. Those ladies are way too cute for Goblin Race. Thanks. Yeah, they're fun. Let's see, I'm going to uncrease all and increase by polygroup again. So perfectly reminds me of Disney Infinity style character, especially the Pose 1 characters. I can open them up. Let me save this guy. I can show them to you close up so you can see what they look like. This is the most recent one I did. So this is the monk goblin guy. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to do. Got these cool scars on him. He has that typical like milky eye scar. Yeah, so this is what he looks like. That's the pose and everything. I got permission to show these to you. Here's the ninja goblin. There we go. All the ropes. So many ropes on this one. I used a rope insert multi-mesh brush. It was kind of fun. But yeah, the hair was fun to make on here. And then... Sorry, I gotta go find these. Next. Okay, this is the samurai goblin guy. Yeah. He was a lot of fun. I can never get IMM rope brushes to work properly. The key is to control your curves with polygroups instead of trying to drag them out by hand. I actually have a YouTube video on how to do that on my YouTube channel. It's just, I think it's 3dcharacterworkshop.com. You can find that. Anyway, I have a video on there showing you how to use polygroups to harness your curves. Okay, let's see. One more. This is my favorite one. Give it a second to load. There we go. Yeah, she does kind of have a doll face. Made her kind of have chunky cheeks and stuff. There you go. Fun. All right, back to mean guy. Thanks for asking. Thanks for looking. All right. The print was one piece, or are they going to print them with multi-pieces? One piece for the most part. Sometimes they'll have their hand or hands separate with the weapons, and then you can plug those hands in, but for the most part it's just a single piece, because they're really small. They're tiny. They're like D&D size, really small. Okay. So I'm just kind of checking this out. Let's start to work on his hair a little bit. I'm also learning a whole bunch about Hector's team's workflow and how they do stuff, and learning a lot, and it's really fun. So shout out to the Ronin team. They do awesome stuff. Hector. Oops. Sent you a link over on Discord. Oh, thanks. Okay. Oh, for the video. Right. Let me mute it. This is when I was skinny. Okay. Yeah, this is the video of me talking about how to harness those curves, get them to work for you. There you go. Has Pixelogic Maxon ever considered making fully functional 3D splines curves like in Maya or 3D Studio Max? I don't know, to be honest. I've mentioned it several times. I don't work for Maxon personally. I just volunteer here. Hey, what's up, Chris? How are you? Good to see you. Thank you very much. Sure. Okay, so with this hair, my new favorite brush for hair is the /2 brush. And I don't think I have it loaded here, but I'll show you where to find it. You just go into Lightbox. You find the slash, you go to the brushes, find the slash brushes. Right here. And then /2 is right here. I'm going to be putting that on my interface pretty soon. Hanging in there? That's good. That's good, that's good. Okay, let's turn off RGB. Let's turn the power down. Too much power. Okay. Yeah, it takes a couple times to make this brush work, but once it does, it's really cool. It makes kind of a stair step, depending on which direction you go with it. There we go. It makes kind of this stair steppy. So if I go this direction, it points down. If I go this direction, it points up. You just have to be kind of very subtle with it, because it's strong, and you just gotta be careful. I'm running out of geometry back here. Let's go the opposite direction a couple times. Whoops. Excuse me. I wish you could start off of here and go into it rather than having to start right on the surface. And also, I need to roll it around. Looks like this got a little out of control up here. You can go slower. If you kind of have to draw really fast or it gets too crazy. And I kind of wish it would fade a little bit more, but to fade it, you kind of have to come in with the smooth brush and soften it. Does Lazy Mouse help it? It can, sure. But the thing is with that is you don't, like I said, you don't want to go with a slow stroke because it will really create some warbles. It's kind of dangerous that way. I kind of like that. Looks like a little hair. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, let's see what we can do with this upper piece here. We got some sticky outy pieces back in the back. I want to kind of try to see what I can do with that, either individual parts or... But yeah, you can just kind of go through like this and... Just kind of go back and forth. I wish I could control it just a little bit better, and it's hard for me not to make them too even. Because you want the chaos, and you want the... Because interest comes from variety. So you want that variety. There we go. I don't hate that. Random, I would say, Leonard, random is the most difficult for me. I want to do this, you know, just like, I want to make it just perfect, like, even. I mean, that's not too bad. That's probably I should probably try that up here. I don't know if I can go all the way across with it. Let's see if I can zoom out and just kind of go like... I feel like the faster you go, the more randomness it introduces. But then you can also like accidentally cross each other too. And everybody has like one good arc in their hand, you know, based off of their elbow and their wrist and how it kind of arcs. So what I'll usually try and do is rotate my model around so it's lined up with the best it can be with that natural arc. So then you're not, it's easier to pull down than it is to drag up and opposite. That's where your kind of hooks and warbles come from, is going up and opposite. So if I can like rotate it to where I'm right-handed, and so my best arc is like this, right? Like if I use my whole arm, this is the best arc. Let's see, then we get some weird overlapping action happening. Just trying to get it to kind of go into the seam. I think I'm going to mask this off. There are many implementations of stroke smoothing, Lazy Mouse, in different apps. Which one do you like the most? ZBrush. I love Krita. CSP weight smoothing, like your mouse is super heavy. I don't know that I've used that. I'd have to try it. I like ZBrush's smooth because it doesn't have stair steppies, is what I call them. There's other programs that I've used that sometimes feel like the brush will stair step, like it has, even though this says it has dots. See the dot stroke type up here? When I'm doing it, it doesn't feel like it's going da 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 da, you know, like a sewing machine. It doesn't feel like that. It feels smooth. But in other sculpting programs, I can definitely feel when it's doing that up 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 up. Yeah, especially in a like a inflate brush or something like that, I can really feel it. And I don't like it. Okay, I'm gonna try something here with this masking. See if I can stay out of there. I'm trying to do some cool S curves too. S curves are always interesting. Is there an easy way of getting darker poly paint for the hair in the crevices like in the concept? Kind of. There's nice work, thank you. There's something called mask by cavity, which you can do. But I'll just come in here and paint it by hand. I don't look for the shortcuts like that, like, because it always feels procedural and generated to me. Like, you know, if I would rather do it as hand strokes on top of my sculpted strokes, because then it just feels even more man-made, you know, like by hand. There's also this carve brush here that I really love. I'm going to flip this over and see. Did you start this guide today as a continuation? This is part 2. So I started it last week. So I don't know if I like that. It's a little too heavy-handed. I was just trying to break this up right here just a little bit more. And just kind of lean into what's already there with a little more interest. That's the whole thing, is you're just trying to make it interesting to look at. And see, there's a lot of hairs on this edge because they're kind of thinner, spiky little guys. See, I just made 1, 2, 3 all the same, all even. That's not good. Maybe you make a little one, then a big one, medium size one, closer together. That's kind of feeling better. Okay. I don't hate that. So, yeah, so like what I do here is I just kind of go in by hand with this airbrush and pick what I like to do is start with the medium tone if I can. So let's find the most medium tone in here. So we have this kind of lighter highlight, this darker gray, and this is kind of the medium right here. So you want to have the ring showing, and then you can hit C and see I can hover over all these colors and see the color swatch change as even on the background as I hover. But I kind of want to just get right in there and then hit fill. Trim this off. So it's already kind of that color right now, right? So now I'll grab this darker gray And sometimes I'll go even darker than what it gave me because I'm going for the feel of it, not necessarily exactly that. So if I go darker, the gradient will be larger, like the fall off will give me more, right? So I don't have to push as hard to get to that color. And then I'll just crank up this RGB value a little bit more. It kind of starts out too light. And see, then I can just kind of hand paint some ambient occlusion in there, and it'll just start to give me that look without too much crazy effort. And the bigger you go, the bigger the gradient it's going to give you. I never paid attention, but aren't eyebrows losing melanin coloration along with hair? Are you talking about his or just eyebrows in general? You talking about like gray? It depends on the person. Like sometimes they'll have gray hair and really dark eyebrows like this guy. And sometimes they'll have like mostly gray and little like salt and pepper. You've probably heard of that, right? They have some pepper sprinkled through. So once I have this, I can come in with the hard paint brush, and it's fun that the things you can do with color. So I can come in with this alpha, change my alpha to kind of these dots. There's several different dots that ship with ZBrush, like these. These might be a little too crispy, but you can then come in and go, here, let's change this from a this. Let me go softer. That's not giving me what I want. I think I have to go with these, like, there's these little squiggles, these little squiggles. That's a word, right? Yeah, that's what I'm after, like this. And that'll give me some, let's lighten up the RGB value of them. And then we can just kind of pull them. I probably went too low. Pull them up from the bottom, and it just kind of gives a little bit of interest. It just adds that little bit more detail. You want to go with the direction of the hair though. And so what I like to do is go medium and then dark and then light on top of that, because the light is the highlights, and that's what's like, nothing is really interrupting it typically. So it kind of, the highlights rest on top while the shadows get interrupted more. But if you're going to 3D print this guy, you would, if you wanted this look, you would have to replicate it in the actual paint itself, because this is not going to 3D print, you know. I'm just kind of trying to add to the look of it, to the look of the hair. And these are, this feels like a different gray value, a different color altogether. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull the medium gray out of this and do it again. Just kind of fill this in and then come in with this darker color, take it even darker, come in with the airbrush, that fake ambient occlusion, starting at the bottom and coming up. You want it to kind of blend in and look like the same piece, because it's the same hair, it's the same guy, right? And then come in with this white, this lighter, and just kind of highlight it around just so it feels blended. And then we'll grab the same color down here, switch over to the paintbrush, and start to do those little hairs. just to break up the surface. I don't like all those. Got to keep it the same direction or it'll look weird. So now what you can do is come in with this highlight and go a little lighter than it. It's pretty light right now. With the same hair alpha, just kind of paint it on top to pull out some of those, just to try and catch the highlight hairs through the darkness. Whoops. Let's switch to the right tool. See, and you can break up this solid color right here. Yeah. Something like that, just enough to give it some interest. This guy. All right, so now that we're at this point, I want to, you can see how dense this mesh is because I use Sculptress Pro. Let's see. For texturing, what software do you prefer? I really don't like the brush control of substance painting. So most of the time for coloring, I use 3D Coat because it has so much cool coloring brush, especially smooth. Yeah, so I was just going to say, I mean, just so you know, this is Maxon's like official channel. So I don't typically like to talk about software that doesn't belong to Maxon. But yeah, you're right. That's kind of what I usually paint all of my stuff in ZBrush, and I'm not just saying that because I'm here, but just like you saw right here, I usually just stick with ZBrush. But occasionally, if I am doing hand painting, there's a lot of different options out there. But yeah, 3D Coat's really good because of the blending that it has. There's a brand new one that just barely came out on the iPad, made by Pablo DeBarro, that's called Wafer. It just came out like 2 days ago. You should check that out. Okay. Yeah. So just that's all I'll say. I think he's on X, so just look up Spar Seal on X and you'll find it. The blending in that is like it's only UV painting though, not vertex painting. Okay, back to where we were. Let's go. I want to kind of compress his head. Yeah, Chris, I can't, like I said, I can't talk about it too much because it's not Maxon software, so I'll just mention it and move on. Hopefully you can respect that. Okay, I want to pull this down. Oh, come on. Let's fast forward this song. It's kind of weird. Just kind of want to pull this down his head a little bit and compress it. Compress this a little bit. Bring it in. I got to give him some eyes. You can barely even see his eyes. They're kind of just buried in there. Okay. I was talking to my students the other day, and I mentioned that 20% of the character, or how did I say it? 80% of the character is done in the first 20% of the time. And then that's the blockout phase. You can make 80% of the character very, very quickly, right? It just kind of typically comes together really fast. And then on the back end, the last 20%, the polish phase, usually takes 80% of the time. That's kind of where the phase we're in now with this guy. So it's just kind of slow and tedious at this point, but it's important to just kind of dial things in and tweak them and just move stuff around very carefully and just try and get it closer. Okay, so what I was going to do with this guy is take his head. Let's save it. Take the head and duplicate it. And then symmetrically ZRemesh it. This is what his head looks like. And this is the topology of it, which is nasty. It's actually asymmetrical because it has a lot of these curves and things, but what I want to do is I'm going to project this down on a symmetrical mesh so I can have posable geometry. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's do ZRemesher. I'm just going to leave it at 5,000 is what the default is, and just see what it gives me symmetrically. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That'll work. I like it. Okay. So then I'm going to take this and subdivide it a couple times. And then I'm going to hide everything except for that head, the original. Okay. And then we're going to just project it. So project all color and geometry. So now what we get is asymmetrical details with symmetrical mesh. This is, I have to shout out to Hector. This is another thing I learned from him recently. Always learning. Okay. Let's, I want to subdivide it one more time. Project it down one more time. Just so we can get that detail, and then hide the original. And this is what the new geometry looks like. No more Sculptris Pro geometry. Okay. So now we can delete our original mesh just to keep our files clean. And now we can unhide everything. We'll hide the ruler and we'll hide these lenses. I'll just take those, I'll adjust those lenses and take them into my rendering software and then work with that way. Okay, so now that we have that good geometry, let's see what these eyebrows look like. They're Sculptris Pro as well, I believe. Yep. Okay, so I want to do the same thing with these eyebrows. We're going to duplicate them and then do a ZRemesh on them. So let's do 3 on these. That's 3,000 polys. Okay. It'll give us this, which is nice. Maybe half of that. There we go. One more time. Okay. And then I'm going to subdivide them up a couple times. Project that detail down. The original. Project all. And then delete the originals. Now we have good topology on the eyebrows. And let's see, this hair is good. It doesn't have any. This hair is good. I just want subdivided geometry is what I'm looking for, not Sculptris Pro geometry. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. I'm just going to ignore those lenses for now, I think. Maybe. Should I show them and bring them for the ride? Might as well. Because like I said, I eventually want to pose or bring this into a rendering software and render it out. Sorry to interrupt, but one question about new retopo brush, how to make one subtool leave the retopo. The way I found is to duplicate subtool and remove the topo one. That's what I would do. I think I understand your question. Yeah, just like you can see that I have two retopo subtools here. You can just duplicate them and it will get rid of that little like outline saying that they're retopo brushes. And if you don't like that, and then just delete the original, that's fine. But you can make any mesh a retopo mesh. That's just kind of an indicator showing you that at one time it was a retopo mesh. If that makes sense. Is ZBrush still supporting quick bridge with keyshot for rendering? I believe so. I don't know. Yeah, I remember it was a big feature once, but then they started shifting to that redshift thing. Yeah. So I think they're both there. I don't think they dropped the support for it, but I'm not sure exactly. Again, I don't work for Maxon. I just volunteer here to show how ZBrush works. So, yep, the bridge still works. I use it daily. Awesome. Okay, thanks for that. I should probably reinstall it. I haven't used Keyshot in a long time. Okay, now that I have all that set up, let's do a save as. The old what doesn't work? The old Keyshot, the old bridge, or what are you talking about? Okay. So what I want to do is I want to turn his head just a bit. So what I'm going to do is select his neck, his head, and we're going to mask this off like so. Blur it down. So now the neck is masked off. The old Keyshot version, I had to get a full standalone license of Keyshot. Oh my goodness. So you're talking about the ZBrush version of Keyshot doesn't really work well, right? Is that what you mean? So isn't the full version of Keyshot like $3,000 or something ridiculous like that? Okay. I'm trying to decide if that's insane. Goodness. Yeah, because Keyshot was originally intended to be a industrial renderer, like for product, like glass and diamond rings and things like that, shampoo bottles. Not necessarily for ZBrush. I think ZBrush just kind of tapped into the back end, like as use cases came along. But that said, I mean, we rendered every single Disney Infinity character in Keyshot back, like the Disney Infinity 2.0 and 3.0. Those were all rendered in Keyshot for the marketing shots, and it did a fantastic job. But yeah, there's other stuff out there now that does just as good. Okay, I think I'm gonna push this over to posing just to get this looking better, closer. So here we go. I'm gonna go T-pose mesh. I was gonna pose it just in ZBrush, or I mean not in pose mode, but I decided to bring it over here just so I can move everything together. So I'm gonna blur this out. Then turn his head, kind of drop it even more. Let's get in perspective here with the camera. Maybe like this, and then I want to kind of move his glasses down to tilt his head just a little bit more. Yeah, bear with me, guys. This is the slow part. This is the polish part. This is the part that I don't really stream too often because it's not as interesting. And it's slow and kind of cumbersome. Yes, I did. Thanks, Neil. His glasses are like pulled and bent in a weird way on this side. Don't be afraid to just try and just bend stuff and break it and get it to work if you can. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but don't be afraid to mush stuff around. I really want him to look over the top of his lenses. And through his eyebrow. But not, like, I need his eyebrow to be higher. Because I'm looking for that. I want to see his iris right through this little crack. But I'm going to emphasize it on this side. Okay, let's see. So this, like I said, this is the mushing and around part. And giving him, oops. There we go. An asymmetrical face. Lowering this side. Raising this side. I'm going to turn on topological just so I can pull this skin up. You can still see his upper eyelid. Let's see. Through here. I want to emphasize that frown by bringing his chin up. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the arms and the glasses are two different lengths. Yeah, this really is pushed for sure. Okay. I'm liking that. But one thing I'm not liking is he's so crunched into his body that I want him to crunch into his body more. So I'm going to hide all these bits. And then mask this off. Then blur it. Mask his eyeglasses off. Okay, and then I'm going to lift his body into his head because it doesn't feel like him yet as far as the body goes. Like, he doesn't feel like he's being crunched in there. So I'm going to see how far I can push it before it breaks. See, the collar goes way up on the back of his head, almost touching his hair. Let's bring this forward a little bit. That's feeling more like him. It's a big thing, feel. Yeah, the new course I'm working on, I talk about feel a lot. I should be able to mention that new course more next week, and give you guys a spot to sign up for it if you want. And then I'm also going to be sending out a survey to my current students. So if you guys are current students of mine, keep an eye out for that. just because I want to ask you guys some questions about it and see if I'm on track and making sure I cover what you guys want to learn. Okay, let's see. This is very square. Oops. Okay. Fun. There we go. All right. I'm going to go back to, gosh dang it. So, I should have saved my pose before I went back to the high res. Gosh dang it. All right. Well, I'm going to have to do that again. But it's so close to being the end of my stream. I think I'm going to end it there and redo the pose off stream because you guys have seen it. I'll just do it again. And then I'll render it out and then post it. All right. Where is my app? Yeah, it's saying it tried to save it, but I doubt it did. Let's see, 4, 5. Let's see what it kept. All those goblins are loaded too. But I was in pose mode, so I'm just gonna have to pose it again. That's all right. It's always, whenever it crashes like that and you lose some work, you're just like, just think to yourself, you know, I've already done it once, I'll do it better next time. So don't get discouraged when it crashes like that. Yeah, just know that you'll do it better next time. All right, you guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Oh, did it crash on you too, Neil? That's interesting. Okay. Because last week it crashed on the Sculptors Pro stuff, you know, smoothing Sculptors Pro. I thought they had fixed it, but it still crashed. And then going back up from pose mode. I will get that passed on and make sure that they know. Great work anyways. Thanks for sharing. Take care and good luck with the new course. Thank you very much. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, I'm super excited about this new thing that I'm working on. It's going to be great. I'm focusing on the art side more than the technical side. So I'm teaching people how to see, how to make their characters better. Like, it's for people that know the tools, know the software, but they just can't make their characters look exactly how they want them to look. So it's kind of a framework to help you get your characters there. So anyway, super excited about it. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you all next week. Have fun. Happy sculpting.